Indus Treaty is very well planned and analyzed treaty. In reality, the treaty is between the two countries. The role which World Bank has is related to that if there is a dispute and the two countries want, they can ask and approach the World Bank for appointing a neutral expert to resolve that or to address this issue.
Do you think practically India can do this thing? Can India stop Pakistan's share of waters?
I think what they have been saying is they are holding treaty in abeyance, which is not understandable. That how you hold a treaty in abeyance. The Indus Treaty was the most practical way to resolve this matter, and this sharing of water or this sharing of connecting of the rivers was not started only at Indus Treaty time. It existed before.
So what do you think? What are the options available for Pakistan? How Pakistan can protect its water? Because as I said earlier, Pakistan is mainly an agriculture country and largely dependent on water from these all rivers.
I think Pakistan has been doing very well on that, raising the issue. There was, as you know, there was also a meeting at there was a session which was held at the New York UN highlighting this issue. And continue that, and the international forums are available for raising this issue. But in reality, I mean, so far it's just a discussion from both sides. Diverting water of Pakistan's share is a very difficult thing. It will be obvious when it is done, and then there are time for taking action.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to Program Insight at V News English. Dear viewers, one of the most important issue other than Jammu and Kashmir is water dispute between Pakistan and India. To settle water disputes, an Indus Water Treaty was signed between Pakistan and India. Unfortunately, on 22nd of April this year, when Pahalgam terror incident took place, India unilaterally decided to put Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. And following this particular decision, there have been very, very provocative statements from Indian leadership that India will stop Pakistan's share of water. It will not allow the Pakistani share of waters. So this particular decision has put Pakistan's food security in danger. Pakistan, as an agriculture country, largely depend on the water that comes from Indian side. Subsequently, Pakistani government had written to Indian government also, had written to several other international institutions about this unilateral decision by the government of India. To discuss this all, whether India can do this, and if India has, as I said, India has already taken this decision, what could be its implication? And on Indus Water Treaty, there is a role by World Bank, right? It is considered that World Bank has a role of grantor while this treaty was being signed. To discuss this all, we are fortunate to have with us Mr. Masood Ahmad. Mr. Masood Ahmad has worked for a long time with World Bank here in Washington as a water resources expert. Mr. Masood Ahmad, very warm welcome to Program Insight in V News English. I would like to seek first your information about this particular treaty, that any role World Bank has on this particular treaty, particularly its protection or as a grantor. Please share your thoughts.
Thank you very much for having me. First, let's talk about Indus Treaty itself. Indus Treaty is very well planned and analyzed treaty. It took over 7-8 years to reach the agreement, and it's based on huge amount of technical analysis, unlike many other treaties in the world. And actually, treaty is between the two countries. World Bank then facilitated or provide the offices to allow this good dialogue between the two countries to take place.
True.
And the World Bank also had people who were facilitating this. So in reality, the treaty is between the two countries. The role which World Bank has is related to that if there is a dispute and the two countries want, they can ask and approach the World Bank for appointing a neutral expert to resolve that or to address this issue. And for that purpose, there was also funds allocated in the treaty, which were in a trust fund in the World Bank to be used when the treaty, when such an expert is called for. So that is the role. There is somehow understanding of guarantor, but I think this is a misnomer a little bit. It's a treaty between the two countries, and the the role of the bank is that when the two countries approach, they can appoint that, and it's because of the very elaborate grievance mechanism which is built in the treaty.
Masood Saab, as we have been watching statements from Indian leaders that India will stop Pakistan's share of waters. Do you think practically India can do this thing? Can India stop Pakistan's share of waters?
I think what they have been saying is they are holding treaty in abeyance, which is not understandable. That how you hold a treaty in abeyance. The point here is that Indus Treaty is built on a well-renowned understanding worldwide that rivers that flow through two countries, the two countries have riparian rights. And that principle existed before the treaty, and that principle still exists today. What is in this treaty is actually that how, in a more convenient manner, the two countries can share those waters. So it's a practical way of sharing those waters. And in that process, the agreement reached was that the waters of three rivers, which is Satluj, Ravi, and Beas, will be fully utilized by India, and the water of three rivers will be utilized by three Chenab, Jhelum, and Indus will be utilized by Pakistan. So undoing that would also mean that somebody has to give the right of Satluj and Beas water to Pakistan, and that will also cause a lot of issues in Indian Eastern Punjab. So, in my view, these claims are not well based, not on right analysis, because there will be some people in Eastern Punjab which will be deprived of some water, which again flow to Pakistan. So it's not practical. The Indus Treaty was the most practical way to resolve this matter. And this sharing of water or this sharing of connecting of the rivers was not started only at Indus Treaty time. It existed before. It was prior to the independence that these Chenab and Jhelum rivers were linked to the Satluj and Ravi because these rivers have short of water.
Masood Saab, in recent floods in Pakistan, we have seen India did not inform Pakistan about flood in rivers Chenab, Jhelum, and also in Ravi that caused massive devastation across Pakistan. Under the treaty, India was supposed to inform that it is releasing water. India was supposed to inform Pakistan regarding the sharing of data, but this time India did not inform. Rather, India adopted diplomatic channel, and even through diplomatic channel, very limited information was shared. How you see this extremely irresponsible attitude from Indian side, and due to this, you have also seen sitting here in Washington that Pakistan suffered huge economic losses. There have been loss of life, loss of property, very large agriculture land destroyed due to this flooding. So your thoughts, please.
I'm not very well aware of details how they informed or not, but the thing is that the treaty's emphasis has always been sharing water when it is short, because that was the main issue at that time. Now, in the past, there are a lot of occasions in which the Indus Commission has worked very well, and as I was explaining earlier, For example, Shalala project on Chenab in 70s, that was agreed between the two countries through consultation of the commission. So I think commission is a very good mechanism to do. If one party has not done it, that's unfortunate, and particularly it is done at the time when there are huge floods. And the damages have been all over. I mean, it's just not on one side or so. It's Eastern Punjab has a lot of damages. Very old barrage, Madhupur barrage, which was similar to Kanki barrage, that also washed on Eastern Punjab side. So I think not only it's water sharing, information sharing, it shows that there has to be better mechanism of flood management in the whole Indus Basin, which has not been the focus in the past because such a flood had not occurred. There were floods in 1988, but those were even smaller. And secondly, I think they did not affect as much because of the population increase now, which is a lot more compared to 1988.
So, Masood Saab, since you have worked on area of water resources and you have very deep understanding, so what do you think? India has put this treaty in abeyance, but it cannot stop. It cannot stop Pakistan's share of waters. What legal options are available for Pakistan to get justice? Which is the forum available that Pakistan can approach? Can Pakistan approach World Bank, or can Pakistan approach International Court of Arbitration?
Yes, I mean, the treaty allows that. The first option is to resolve themselves and ask for an arbitrator whenever there is a project or a structure done which is really extracts the water from where it now to be, then they can ask for arbitration and they can go to the international court, which Pakistan has already done before.
Exactly.
But it takes a long time to resolve those things. So if it is resolved among with the commission, that will be good for both parties, actually.
So technically, what options are available in Pakistan so that Pakistan can protect its water resources from such type of water aggression? Pakistani political leadership, even many Pakistani politicians have turned the Indian decision as an act of war. So, what do you think? Because in future, the wars would be fought definitely on water, and water is a lifeline. So, what do you think? What are the options available for Pakistan? How Pakistan can protect its water? Because, as I said earlier, Pakistan is mainly an agriculture country and largely dependent on water from these old rivers.
I think Pakistan has been doing very well on that, raising the issue. There was, as you know, there was also a meeting at there was a session which was held at the New York UN, highlighting this issue, and continue that. And the international forums are available for raising this issue. But in reality, I mean, so far it's just a discussion from both sides. Diverting water of Pakistan share is a very difficult thing. It will be obvious when it is done, and then there are time for taking action.
So, since you have been dealing about water resources, what are your thoughts about the issue of water in Pakistan, issue of waters in river? Recently, we have seen flooding in Pakistan, and there was a debate that this flooding could have been prevented if there were dams. So, to what extent do you agree that dams can prevent flooding in Pakistan? Do you think there should be more dams in Pakistan in future? Do you think that there should be more dams in future so that floods could be prevented?
There should be more dams in Pakistan to do water management and make better use of water, but not just to prevent the floods. Extreme floods cannot be prevented with dams. These are very high floods. Smaller floods you can prevent with the dams, but large, extremely large floods, like more than 100-year floods, you can't because you don't have enough capacity to do. Now, unfortunately, the floods in this year happened in rivers which does not have dam sites. So floods happened in Ravi and Satluj and Chenab. And particularly in Pakistan, there are no sites where we can build the dams. So I think basically leaving the space for the river is the main thing. I mean, people have encroached into the river space, assuming there won't be any flows, that these rivers are fully diverted, which was a misnomer, because when extraordinary events happen, that river flows. So I think there are many flood protection projects world has done. I have done in Poland, for example, with a lot of ones done in Bangladesh, which protect against flooding. And that is the kind of thing which has to be done on Ravi and Chenab to give its way, so people are not in the way of floods. And there's enough space allocated for extreme floods. That's called riverine area. I mean, Indus has that below Guddu. There are embankments built around Indus below Guddu, even though people have started living in it. So I think it is more of that rivers Ravi and Satluj, which are considered, which water is diverted, they are not dead. They are still flowing rivers, and they have to be managed like a river and not stopped. The flows cannot be stopped on that. So in these ones, yeah, on Indus, there are a lot of sites which Pakistan can exploit, and they are doing it. Above Tarbela, there are 3 or 4 dams which can be built, which can give huge amount of energy for Pakistan for hydropower, which is the cheapest form of energy. Tarbela is one of the biggest assets which Pakistan has. It gives a benefit of more than $3 billion or so every year through water and power. So they are very useful, and that's where the most of the water is. And the Pakistan has started Dasu, Bashad, which needs to be completed. And the reason for there are a lot of delays in that, and they need to address that actually. Instead of starting the new dam, finish the ones which are under construction, so that the benefits begin to flow.
Masood Saab, as you said, that there could be dams that could be constructed on Indus water, but there is always lack of consensus in Pakistan among 4 provinces. So, what do you think? How Pakistani politicians, how political parties, how mainly the public could be sensitized about this? That these water reservoirs are lifeline for the country. What do you think? How public could be sensitized that these things should be considered? These things should be above political consideration, above political lines.
I mean, there are 2 projects at this time on Indus which Pakistan has started. They are huge challenge. One is Dasu, which is also financed by the World Bank, and then Basha. And they are huge challenges. At this time, the concentration should be to complete these on time. Both are delayed by 10, 15 years. If they are completed, then people will be more convinced of what the benefits come from that, like people see the benefits of Tarbela. Now, the large projects, particularly rivers, on the rivers, are controversial worldwide. I see that in Central Asia and everything. This is not uncommon. This happens. The main thing is the leadership brings to bear all the parties in it. And luckily for Pakistan now, in 91, they had interprovincial water allocation accord, which allocates the water, or which gives a mechanism how the waters will be shared. So in my view, in future, it will become easier to have a consensus. And right now, there is a consensus already on building 2-3 projects, which are above Indus. The difficulty at this time is that those projects are not being built at a pace which they should be built. And I'm giving you example of Dasu. There is not even a funding constraint. There's $1 billion sitting out there which are not being used. And similarly for Basha, which is funding is not an issue, it's implementation issue. It's not a funding issue. So there are 3 or 4 major dams which are already in Pakistan, which is a huge challenge for Pakistan to complete. And the financing is also there, but it is the issue of administrative and implementation and resettlement and social dealing with that area.
So what about Tarbela Dam? You talked about Tarbela Dam earlier, which was constructed indeed with the financial assistance from the World Bank. This particular dam has completed its life, and now it needs definitely overhauling, desilting. so that more water capacity could be ensured in Teribela Dam. What do you think? What are the options available for Pakistan as far as this huge task of desilting, and that could only be done if there is World Bank financing available?
No, the World Bank already is funding a plant for Tunnel 4, which is already in operation. It came into operation in 2018. It's giving about 1400 megawatt, 1500 megawatt. And then they are also funding a project on Tunnel 5, which is under construction, which will give 1500 megawatt power. So Tarbela continues to be a gold mine for Pakistan. Now, regarding the desilting, this is not a viable option. You don't desilt a dam, it's too costly. The solution to that is you build a dam upstream and you create storage by building additional dam. Now, Pakistan has raised the Mangla, which was original plan as it was done in 60s under the treaty. And because the river didn't have a flow, that it is to be built at two stages. So Pakistan has raised it now, and it has a huge storage. And with Basha coming in, it will have additional storage. So the way to bring more storage is to build more dam. That is the practical way. The silt which is accumulated is something which cannot be handled. Now, more importantly, the water can be used better. Productivity of water in Pakistan is very low. It's compared to comparable countries. And that comes from crop choices, and that also comes from irrigation efficiency, irrigation system. I mean, we did a project for drip irrigation, which has a much higher efficiency. You need only 1/3 quantity of water when you are using water with drip irrigation, and also the values of crop. So it's the cropping selection, crop pricing policy, which also helps in making it, and making the water use better. There is a lot more potential Pakistan has in gaining by using the existing water more efficiently rather than creating new water.
So, what do you think? What are the challenges in future as far as availability of water resources are concerned? Do you think there need to be more concentrated policy on preservation of water resources? Because, as I said, water is lifeline, and how to ensure the protection of available water resources? I'm talking in context of Pakistan.
Yes, I agree with you. I think there has to be preservation and there has to be more efficient use. If we do use efficiently, there is plenty of water which Pakistan has. But another challenge which Pakistan is facing is the effluent discharge into the river, which is polluting the rivers. And that is reducing the usable water, actually. And the Pakistan has a huge resource of groundwater. And once these metals and everything which are discharged through the river system reach to that, then we will be spoiling that huge resource. So I think water quality needs to get as much or even more attention nowadays compared to the quantity, because we have a large quantity of water, but we are spoiling a lot of river waters by directly discharging the effluent from the cities and from there. And some of these cities are very big, and they all are discharging untreated water. And that untreated water is spoiling the water quality. It's a public health issue. It's a stunting issue. It's affecting the health. You can't have a good, healthy public if you don't have a good water supply. That's essential for it. I think that is also need investments rather than concentrating constantly on quantities of water.
No, lastly, I would like to seek your comment that India would continue to act as an irresponsible state the way this 22nd of April this year incidents in Pahalgam and unilateral decision. Now, question is that India would continue to behave like this. What are the options available with Pakistan? How Pakistan can protect its water in case of this continuous Indian water aggression on which there is a consensus at Pakistan that this particular decision by India is a water aggression. So, how Pakistan can fight against this water aggression and can save its future agriculture, can save its agriculture and its food security in the days to come?
I think it's both actions. One is to raise what they have been doing already, to raise at international forums, and going to international forums and getting the attention. Secondly, also internally making water more efficient, water use more efficient. The existing water needs to go to produce more. Pakistan can produce a lot more than existing water, which has, and that causes resilience. If you look at a lot of projects done with the societies which are resilient before the disaster,
Exactly.
they are resilient after the disaster. They recover much faster. So if people have better incomes and better resources with them, they recover faster from the disasters.
There have been, as you nicely mentioned, this is a very, very major issue in Pakistan that the housing societies, residential areas, housing societies were built along with the bed of the rivers. And that is also one of the cause of the recent flooding in Pakistan. And this is the definitely right of a river that whenever there would be water in it, it has to make its natural flow. But this time that flow was hampered. There was hurdles in that, and that hurdle was illegal construction of housing societies. So I need your analysis on this particular development.
I think that is a major issue. That is the cause of major flooding at this time, or damage, in my view. A lot of people in Pakistan have thought that these rivers are not rivers anymore, and as a result, they can go in it. Now, they can go on the river, and there can be proper planning, and you have to have a riverine area and then develop. Most cities in the world are developed on rivers. That's how it is done. In my view, Lahore, for example, on Ravi should be on Ravi, on both sides of Ravi, but with a proper plan, with a proper space for both of them. And there is let's don't forget, they are monsoon rivers, so they flow short period of time, but that is a lot of flow at that time. So that space has to be created there. And I think that's a misassumption that somehow people thought these rivers are not going to flow. And that's a reminder that rivers will flow.
Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Masood Ahmad, for sparing time and participation in Program Insight at V News English and sharing your thoughts as you have served in the World Bank in Washington for quite a long time, dealing and working on water resources. Dear viewers, till our next broadcast, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.